news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. Some officials of the Corrections Bureau are set to face plunder charges over the questionable release of funds. Bucor Acting Chief Gregorio Catapang said that 95% of the budget for modernization of jails were already released, but only around 60% of the projects have been completed. Catapang added that they are waiting for a statement from suspended Bucor Chief Gerald Bantag for the case buildup.
Hindi ko talaga makonsensya eh. Magpapile ako ng plunder case for those who were involved in this. Paano na-release yung pera na 95 release kung hindi dumaan sa kanila? No? Who authorized the payment?
And the Philippines has suspended the deployment of overseas Filipino workers to India. The Philippine Overseas Employment Administration, or POEA, said OFWs are only allowed to be deployed to countries where migrant worker rights are protected. India was recently tagged as a non-compliant country based on the assessment of the Philippine Embassy in New Delhi. At present, there are around 2,000 Filipino workers in India. And proponents of the Maharlika Investment Fund are not backing down amid growing criticism of the proposal. Shaila Francisco with the report.
More than 10 business associations and economic policy groups have now joined forces to voice out their concern over the proposed Maharlika Wealth Fund. In a statement, the groups pointed out the country has neither commodity-based surpluses nor surpluses from external trade and state-owned enterprises that the sovereign wealth fund can manage. They say the government's priority is the management of fiscal deficit and public debt. But instead of leaving a legacy of surplus funds, the current generation, they say, is leaving a legacy of debt which future generations need to finance. The groups have also expressed reservations on the possible solvency of social pension funds, contingent liabilities, monetary independence of BSP, government's intervention in economy, and transparency. The groups joining the opposition against the Maharlika Wealth Fund include the Foundation for Economic Freedom, Makati Business Club, Management Association of the Philippines, among others. But the Finance Department counters their claims. Finance Secretary Diokno said that the country does not need to have a surplus in budget to have a wealth fund, so long as it has a steady source of income like oil, mining, and tollways.
You don't need to have a surplus in your budget account to have a wealth fund. Okay, so for example, if you have a steady source of revenues, let's say, I mentioned oil, mining, right? Even the bandwidth, right? We should have, looking back, we should have auction the bandwidth. No?
Diokno, a former central bank chief, also said the country has more than sufficient forex reserves that can be set aside for the proposed Maharlika Wealth Fund. GSIS President and General Manager Vic Veloso also noted now is the best time to the wealth fund to be established.
Napakaraming industriya, ang napakalaking capex, capital expenditures. At dyan po nahihirapan ang ibang mga kumpanya to be able to pursue a number of key projects, primarily because they need to source funding. At ang ginagawa po natin ay gusto natin makatulong at ma-identify kung ano pong itong mga industriya na ito na prioridad ng republika natin para umusad ang ating ekonomiya.
Veloso also addressed rumors on the possible solvency of social pension funds.
Ang contribution po ng aming mga miyembro ay 9%. Nagko-contribute ang gobyerno ng 12% for a total of 21%. Pagka nag-retire po sila, 90% of their pay for the last 3 years, ibibigay po namin yan. Ang kailangan po natin ay to have the same kind of investment techniques and strategies that the private sector is doing.
Diokno also said the critics need not to focus on the failure of other wealth funds like that of Malaysia, noting that the Maharlika Wealth Fund has enough safeguards. It will also be up to GOCC to decide on the investment.
Yung investment decision nila will be governed by the respective boards. Okay? Hindi naman namin sila pinipersa kung ayaw nila mag-invest. Wag.
Meanwhile, the BSP Monetary Board says it supports any efforts to widen the fiscal space, but says there is a need for the BSP to maintain its gross international reserves.
That we have needed the JIR to help manage volatilities in the exchange rate. We've had to do that because the pressure exerted by the global changes occasioned by the Fed have forced us to intervene more than usual in the foreign exchange market. And so, as you could see, last year our GIR was close to 110 billion US dollars. Now it's down to 95. We've expended some ammunition in helping that, and we'd like to try our best to preserve that ammunition for future battles. That's one aspect. On the supervisory role,
Hindi siya depleted. It's equivalent to 7.5 months of imports. No? Kailangan mo lang 3 months. So sobra-sobra pa rin yun. That's too much ammunition.
Diokno also hit BSP Governor Medallia's reservation on the Maharlika Wealth Fund.
Panabasa yung bill, di ba? So out of ignorance, magko-comment ka. I'm not saying na ignorante siya, no, ha?
Diokno sees the passage of Maharlika Wealth Fund by mid-next year, but he notes guarantees stated in the law should be removed. Shaila Francisco, we are One News.
We're gonna pause for a quick break, but we will be back with more stories after that. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. K-pop girl group BLACKPINK is Time Magazine's Entertainer of the Year. Time Magazine hailed BLACKPINK's achievements, including their new album Born Pink, which holds the record as the best-selling album by a Korean girl group with over 2 million sold. Time said that BLACKPINK managed to become the biggest girl group in the world by allowing its members to shine as solo artists. BLACKPINK is the second K-pop artist in history to be named as Time's Entertainer of the Year after BTS back in 2020. And despite the looming recession, many consumers are willing to splurge on things that they missed during the pandemic, whether it's travel or tickets to see Taylor Swift. Let's find out the economics behind that in this report by Bloomberg.
Welcome to Swiftonomics. That's what happens when a post-COVID demand shock causes ticket sales to go up to $40,000. Many Taylor Swift fans were very disappointed when they couldn't get their hands on tickets back in November. The demand was so high that it caused Ticketmaster's system to fail, and it raised all sorts of questions about the platform's monopoly. But there's more here. Swifties, or fans of Taylor Swift, represent a particular moment in the global economy. They are the supercharged consumer that's willing to spend a lot of money on experiences that they missed out on during the pandemic. Many in this category are Gen Zs or millennials who come out of the pandemic with historically high levels of savings. They've waited for 4 years to see their favorite pop star, and they don't mind splurging 10 months worth of savings to see her.
It's all because of you. Thank you so much.
In the early 2000s, economist Alan Kruger came up with a concept called rockonomics. He uses it to explain the global economy through the lens of the music industry. He often talks about Taylor Swift as somebody who's very cleverly playing with strategies to boost ticket sales.
Well, I think Taylor Swift is an economic genius.
But the bigger question of how much longer consumers are going to spend this much money in an economy of highly alarming interest rates is something that Swiftonomics can't answer. For now, economists are going to have to shake it off.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. Inflation accelerated further in November to 8%. That is the highest in 14 years. The latest print is higher than the 7.7% inflation rate logged in October. The Philippine Statistics Authority said that higher vegetable prices as a result of recent typhoons contributed to faster inflation in November. Former Batangas Vice Governor Ricky Recto has passed away at the age of 59. His brother, House Deputy Speaker Ralph Recto, confirmed the news. Police reported that the former Vice Governor was found dead in his residence in Pasig City. Comedian host Vong Navarro has been allowed to post bail after being charged with rape and acts of lasciviousness. The Taguig Regional Trial Court has set Navarro's bail at 1 million pesos. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News Live anytime, anywhere. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.